Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Meena Puri from Ayurvedic Healing Center. Soul Talk 2. These are the issues, the things that showed up with my clients today that's worthwhile for everybody to hear. First of all, if you are here, I can see you on the eye up top. It's always a treat to have someone listening and watching you, especially when you're online so much. So if you're here, say hi, let me know you're here. I would appreciate that. But you don't have to. So there are a few things that came up. Number one, don't criticize. No one likes to be criticized. Even sometimes an innocent comment like, have you put on weight? Or your haircut, it looked better the other way. It's subtle. You're trying to tell them this haircut doesn't look good. Or, sometimes our parents make these comments or somebody who's really close to us. And over time, we can get used to someone's particular type of behavior and ignore it. But it's really more on the giving end. It's more for you to pay attention to that. The receiving end, what can you do if somebody has already made that comment? We all have to reach some type of a spiritual maturity to let things go. But, avoid saying anything negative, anything that can be hurtful. Just feels a little bad for the other person. Really check your intentions. We're moving into a world where we are spreading love, acceptance, compassion. And so we really want to build people up. We don't want to break them down. Okay. So just keeping that in mind. And we all do that. I do that too. And I'm like, oh, what did I do? What did I say? No, can't do that. And there are sometimes some people just rub you the wrong way. And you feel like you just want to tell them off. That makes me, comes to the second point, which is, when you get really ignited or get um, ticked off and you've had it, you feel like you're going to give somebody a piece of your mind. There's time and place for that. But we don't want to be teaching others lessons. Oh, I'm going to show them they are this and this and this. It's not your job to hold the mirror for somebody. Life does that for all of us really well if we tune in, right? But it is, however, our job to learn our lessons. So instead of telling somebody off or getting back at them and just teaching them a lesson, the question to ask is, why are they triggering you in the first place? Why are they triggering you, and what it is within you that they are triggering? There's information there in asking that question. And your power also is in paying attention to what's showing up for you, what's happening for you. So it is not our job to teach others lessons. It is, however, our job, if we take that on, to learn the lessons ourselves. Okay. And the third thing that came up is, especially during this time or even any time really, we know people who are in our family, in our close relationship circles, where people are struggling. Maybe they've started, they're drinking or they're overeating and they're struggling with one issue or another. So what happens commonly is everybody in that circle or in that family group, it's like gossip. They're talking behind the back and saying, hey, have you heard that so and so is drinking? Right? So we're talking behind their back. At the same time, we are avoiding them. Like, oh my gosh, something is wrong with you. And it happens subconsciously because one person starts talking, next thing you know, you start talking, and it turns into gossip behind somebody's back. The person who is actually struggling, what they need is acceptance, love. They want to feel comfortable to be able to talk to somebody. Well, they're not going to feel comfortable talking to you if you talk behind their back and whisper and avoid them. So avoidance is not the thing. It's more your presence. More presence without judgment. Compassion again. We're back at compassion. So withhold your opinions. Be more present. It shows them acceptance. Just because somebody is overweight or they started drinking, that doesn't make them a bad person or a wrong person. We've all been there. These are things that are available in our life, coping mechanisms. So there's got to be, we really got to stay away from the judgment. Good people make bad choices. Good people many times are driven to do not so good things as a coping mechanism. Life isn't easy. Life doesn't spare anybody. So be more present, include them more, make a phone call. And you're not going to them with a solution. Hey, say, I heard that you have this problem. Have you tried this? Don't do that. Everybody has the solutions. It's the doing what the solution suggests. That's the hard part. And people come to it to their own realization. They come to that when we hold space for them without judgment, with love, acceptance, and compassion. So your presence, your loving, accepting, compassionate presence, and include them. There's no judgment. Don't make them feel like there's something wrong with them. Accept them, love them as they are. That can lead to, that's the one thing they're struggling with, acceptance. If somebody can see them, hear them, they're going to come to find their own solutions. Everybody wants to live. Everybody wants to be happy. So it just more presence, less judgment, more inclusion. And friendships. So especially during COVID time, I guess we're still going through COVID time. Some friendships run their course. Why I say especially during this time? Because we've had the time to rethink, reassess, pay attention to ourselves, spend time with ourselves to get a little bit more clear on how we want our life to be, what do we want our life to be. So sometimes we realize that, this friend that I used to be so close to, I just feel like we don't really have anything else to talk about. And it happens because your vibration changes. One person is growing in one direction, another person is going in another direction. So it's not a vibratory match. But many times we don't let go because these are such dear old friends. But it's not about letting go. You always hold a special place for those beautiful friendships in the past that you've had. They've always had a sweet, beautiful place in your heart. But it may not continue the same way in the future. That doesn't mean you have to let go of the friend. It just means we have to let go of what the relationship was. Relationship changes, and we have to not hold on to how it was, but can we let that go and make room for what may develop in the future, right? So same thing happens, that's a separate video like on children. Our kids grow up, they're so close to us, they get into adults, that relationship changes, and there's a lot of grief for mothers on this. So we don't let go of our children, but we let go of the what the relationship was. We make room for their growth. Same way we make room for our friends' for ourselves to grow. So some friendships just run their course. And sometimes when raising the level of your consciousness, or you're in a different place, you begin to look at the friendships in a whole new level. You're like, well, was this really a true friendship? What was it really? So all of this is okay. The point I'm trying to make is that we cannot hold on to what was for most things. So I'm talking about friendships. And we have to keep letting go of what was so we can make room for new. And there is grieving. There's grieving of the old, of what was. So allow yourself that time, but you're still holding that person, the friendship, beautifully in your heart, and just making room for their growth and for your growth. So see if that's happening in your life. I know that it's happening during COVID time because things change. Things change for so many of us. We don't think the same way. We're not the same old people that we were 2020, 2 years later. We're just not. We have changed. Other people have changed. Priorities have changed. We've figured out different ways of doing things. We know ourselves a little bit more. So the next point is, so again, when we have all of our relationships, friendships, family, work relationships, so view them as being on a horizontal level in this earth plane, right? Many times we can't make sense of the relationship from the same plane. We have to go vertical, which means we have to connect to something larger, connect to your soul, connect to that which is the cosmos, connect to the universal energy, connect to God, whatever your word may be. We have to connect to something higher. So we have to kind of go up, elevate our consciousness. In this higher place, we can see more. We have more available. There are more options. Our perspective changes. So we have to go up in order to make sense of the relationships on the horizontal plane. So you can see a bigger picture. So, so then you may realize, oh, this is what this friendship was. This is what this relationship was. This is how I can be present now. This is how I have changed now. So just remember the horizontal. In order to make sense of the horizontal, we got to go up. We got to go vertical. And it's another way of saying we have to ask the bigger question. We have to look at the bigger picture. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Hope you're having a beautiful Friday. And if you have not purchased my book, here is Wake Up and Heal, 6 Steps to Emotional Freedom. It's available on Amazon. You can also go to my website, ayurvedichealingcenter.com, to get all the links. And there's also a digital copy, which means that you can download it right on your computer. But the Kindle and paperback is available on Amazon. And I'm also starting a book club. This is a book we will begin with. If you want to be part of the book club, we are going to be figuring out the details in a few days. People are still joining in. Then please send me an email at mpuri@ayurvedichealingcenter.com. And just let me know that you want to be part of the book club, so then I will include you in, seeing what's happening moving forward. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you watching, listening. Feel free to share if you think someone needs it. And I will see you next week.